let's get to the. I found my trusty notebook that I dropped and got all discombobulated here. I have my power rankings now. So let's just go through. So this is based off of week 1, okay? And I'm not taking any 0-1 teams. So I can tell you right off the bat, Pittsburgh, it's not that I'm overreacting. It's just that there's a lot of teams that I liked, and I want to talk about all the teams. So they are, I'm just going to be talking about a lot of them throughout the season. I'll probably do like a weekly segment. We'll see how it goes. I'm definitely going to throw this stuff on YouTube. So again, just a reminder for everybody, if you subscribe, if you look on the lower right-hand side, you're going to see a red button. That's how you subscribe. Subscribe to our channel. Like us, please. That always helps. And if you comment, let us know what you agree, disagree with. And I personally, I will reply to you. Because I have nothing better to do. Okay, let's see. New England is number 1 on my list. Actually, I should have gone descending order, but we were already talking about them. I'm gonna keep you hanging for number 2. I'm gonna work my way from 10 to 2. So New England's number 1 on my list at plus 375. Bovada has them at. Yeah, man. I just with Antonio Brown going there. I mean, Josh Gordon, he looked great. This team was actually already built for the running game. Yes, I know they made some trades for their offensive linemen before the season. This team is only going to get better, and to see them dismantle a team in Pittsburgh, who I think is very good. Pittsburgh, by the way, is at plus 2,800, so they're a pretty decently bet team for the Super Bowl. Yeah, man. I know Pittsburgh doesn't always play well on the road, but what New England did to that Pittsburgh team, man, they're gonna be tough to beat. I do think there are some challengers out there for them. So let me restart my list now from number 10. I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Chargers, who pulled one out against, I think, an underrated Indianapolis Colts team. Bovada has them at plus 1,000 or no 1,600. 1,600 for the Chargers. The Colts were pretty good, and I think since Luck retired, some people have been sleeping on them. Brissett played okay. They have a lot more talent than they did the last time Andrew Luck was hurt and when Peyton Manning was hurt before that. They're actually building a good offensive line. Their defense is strong. Frank Reich, I think, is probably the best head coach they've had. No disrespect to Hall of Famer Tony Dungy, but I think Frank Reich the history will show that Frank Reich will be, probably the more lauded head coach over time. Well, maybe not. Let me not disrespect Tony Dungy too much because he was nasty with those Bucks. But I think for the Colts, Frank Reich will be better than Tony Dungy was. But we'll see if he gets the Super Bowl. Tony Dungy has the ring. But there you go. So number 9 on my list is the Green Bay Packers, who skated by the Chicago Bears. Bovada has them at plus 1,800 to win the Super Bowl. It's 18 to 1 if you're not familiar. But the Packers, I think the offense will get going. For them to score 10 points against Chicago, let's be honest, I picked the Packers against the spread. I won the bet, but if you had told me that the Packers are only going to score 10 points, I would have thought that was a loss. But that's good news for the Packers. It means their defense can actually play. Part of that was Chicago struggling as well, but if this offense gets going, I did like that they tried to commit to the run with Aaron Jones. That will open things up for Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Valdez-Scantling, all those guys, Jimmy Graham. I think this Packers team could do well. They're number 9 on my list. I will have a consolation list later just to go through because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fans of a lot of teams that are going to be pissed off. So let me cover my butt later. Number 8 on my list, the Eagles at plus 1,000. Plus 1,000 for the Eagles. I liked what they did. I think they started way too rusty against Washington, but we saw that across the NFL. Some teams had rust. We're going to talk about some more of those teams that had some rust in the first half, and they came out and they really just dominated the second half. They play Atlanta this week. I don't know if I'm actually going to use them in my picks or not, but I do think Atlanta will give them a tough game at home. But I think Philadelphia will pull it out there. Number 7 on my list at plus 1,200, Bovada has the odds for the Rams. It's basically 12 to 1. The Rams, man, they also came out very rusty. I would like to see them lean a little bit more on Todd Gurley. I know what they were doing. They were using Malcolm Brown and Todd Gurley series by series and then leaning on Todd Gurley when they needed him. So I think, when push comes to shove, maybe when they play New Orleans this week, if they're losing or something like that and they need some yards, I think Todd Gurley will get you there. Number 6 on my list, speaking of, Bovada has at plus 800, 8 to 1, is the New Orleans Saints. And I think the Saints are really good, man. They also started rusty. They played a very strong, I think, Texans team. The Texans were able to run. Last year we saw New Orleans had a great run defense. I think this year will be more of the same for New Orleans, but we'll see. They need to tighten it up a little bit. The offense, I think, will, they really should have covered that spread. I picked them. I lost that I actually didn't pick them in my bets, but I picked them in my picks. So at least I didn't lose any money. But yeah, I mean, they Drew Brees throwing an interception in the red zone. That doesn't happen that often. They'll be fine. I like the Saints. Number 6, is that too low? I don't know. But again, I'm basing a lot of this off of what I saw in week 1. And like I said, they started a little bit too rusty for me. Number 5 on my list is Minnesota. Bovada has them at plus 2,000. That's 20-1. I like them because Cousins, he only threw the ball 10 times. He was 8 of 10. They could have thrown the ball more if they felt like it. But this team, the defense is there. And they can run. As long as Dalvin Cook is healthy, they can run. Even if Dalvin Cook gets injured, I like Alexander Mattison. I think they're going to be good. It's going to be an interesting season to watch. That game, Green Bay versus Minnesota this week at Green Bay, is going to be a very interesting game to watch. Number 4 on my list, Baltimore, plus 2,500. That's 25-1 on Bovada if you're interested in that future. As far as futures go, I like Minnesota and I like Baltimore if the future's kind of better. I don't, because I don't like my money locked up for that long. But I like those 2 bets because they can run the ball, they can play defense, and they can throw the ball. I just said I'm not going to overreact to games, but I got to say, like Lamar Jackson, I'm not overreacting to the game, but I've seen it all throughout training camp. The guy can throw. This is looking like, San Francisco during Kaepernick's prime. This is looking like RG3 in Washington in his rookie year. But Lamar Jackson, he didn't really run the ball that much. They were over the top. They could do whatever they wanted in the run game. Everything was working. Is that more a virtue of Miami being poor on defense? Is it Baltimore being great on offense? I think it's somewhere in the middle. So I have Baltimore at number 4. Number 3 on my list, this breaks my heart to say it because I'm not the biggest fan, but Dallas. Bovada has it plus 1,200. That's 12-1. Again, they can play defense. Dak, we saw what he did. He's continuing to ascend. They took apart the Giants. Can they do it 2 weeks in a row in the division at Washington this week? We'll see. I like Dak Prescott. And Ezekiel Elliott wasn't even really involved in the game plan coming back from the holdout. They're going to be able to run. They play strong defense. They're going to be an interesting team to watch. Number 2 on my list, because we already talked about New England being number 1. Number 2 is Kansas City. They're just so talented offensively. Yes, I know Tyreek Hill is out, but did you see what Sammy Watkins did? He did fantastic. And do I think that? I know Sammy Watkins' book, but I've also watched Sammy Watkins. I've had him on a few fantasy teams, including his rookie season. He looks more in shape now than I've ever seen. He's trained up. He's strong. He's ready to go. And I think Mecole Hardman, this is just my guess. I don't really have anything to back this up, but I think Mecole Hardman, the rookie Kansas City receiver, he's the most like Tyreek Hill. I think he'll be probably the deep threat, the guy that pushes the speed routes down the field to open things up for Sammy Watkins. I think Damian Williams will be more involved in the offense. We saw LaShawn McCoy also involved in the offense last week. Kansas City is just too good. So let me give you my consolation picks as well. I like what Tennessee did, man. No disrespect to them. I just was trying to fit them on the list. That number 10 selection, even 8, 9, and 10, it was hard for me to choose between these teams. So Tennessee was one of them. Bovada has them at, I think, plus 1,500. Is that right, Tennessee? No. Tennessee is at plus 4,000 on Bovada right now. So that's 40-1. Again, futures bets. I probably wouldn't take Mariota there. I think he's the only thing probably keeping them out of making a deep playoff rank because they can play defense and they can run the ball. But we'll see if Mariota can improve this season. Let's see. The Colts, who are 0-1, I didn't take them, but they're at plus 6,000 according to Bovada. We have the Steelers. Like I said before, I'm not overreacting, but they're 0-1. They didn't look great. I'm sure they'll be back on this list soon enough. They're at plus 2,800. The Raiders, no disrespect, man, they came out with a lot of energy. I want to see it more than just 1 week after what we saw last season. They're at plus 8,000. Buffalo, I didn't like the 4 turnovers in the first half. That's not going to happen every week. Buffalo's at plus 8,000, and then we have Seattle at plus 2,800. They're probably my closest candidate to getting on this list, but 21-20 at home against Cincinnati. I don't know. Again, we're going to see a lot more with Pittsburgh versus Seattle this week. It's going to be an interesting game. So there you go. There is my NFL Power Rankings after Week 1. There's going to be a lot of filling out. Like I said, if you're watching this on YouTube, bottom right-hand side of the screen, hit that red button, subscribe, give us some comments. I will comment back. Sam, I think that makes an episode, man. You got anything else for the crowd?
Not much, man. That was a lot of talking, man. Make sure you get a sip of water.
I think I can take that. Here we go. That's great advice as I spill it all over my face. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks again, everybody. Check out Podcast One. Check out Underdog TV. Subscribe to this podcast as well. Please like us. That helps us grow. Everybody have a great week. Be good.
Be good.